Let me ask you finally about another issue, one that touches on every state, but that's the topic of debate this week in Washington, which is immigration reform. I think a state like Kansas has had much greater Hispanic inflow over the last, say, 20 years than most people would realize. Do you consider that in migration important to the state's economy, and what would you like to see done on immigration nationally?
I consider it very important, and I consider it very important to the future of the state. We need people. We got just under 3 million people, and you know, a big state. So we need people to create economic growth and activity. My hope is that they do deal with the immigration issue and get people into a legal system. I mean, I think that's been the crying thing out there, is that we've had a lot of people come in the United States, but we need to have a system that works legally. One of the things I've supported for a long time is a work visa program that I think would be a very helpful thing. And I'd love to see people work and look at how we can work with immigration to grow the economy of the United States, because we're all immigrants from somewhere other than Native Americans, and we need to grow.
You know, you've kind of been a Reagan apostle on immigration for a while. I think when you ran your own presidential campaign a few years ago, you found that in your party that was kind of a hard message to convey. Do you think the party has turned around a little bit on immigration? Is more of a kind of open immigration Reagan view, this is good for the economy, place than it was when you were trying to make that case as a presidential candidate?
Yeah, I think it's much more accepting, but I wouldn't say that everybody is there. And there's a good, strong law and order wing of the Republican Party, and of which I agree with. And they're saying, you know, look, you got to follow the rules. And if you don't, we're not going to reward you. I think that's the rub point there, is that people are saying, well, you got to follow the rules, but we need to deal with this situation. And then just the real crying need for growth in the country and in the world. And the United States is one of the key drivers on it.
Would you guess immigration reform happens or doesn't happen?
It looks like the Senate is setting up for it to pass with these early procedural votes, which are usually policy follows procedure, and I would think that would. House, you know, it's still kind of anybody's guess, just because this is a tough, and it gets to be a very personal issue for a lot of people.